Okay. Good morning, everyone. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me today to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. We'll just take a moment to become present. So find a nice, comfortable seated position, nice, so that you can elongate your back of your spine, the back of your neck, open your chest, open your heart, open your diaphragm to allow breathing to happen. And then close your eyes. Soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, bringing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For our intention this morning, you can think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. I thought for our intention, we'd go back to my beloved Yamas and Niyamas. The yoga has 8 limbs to it. The first limb being the yamas. And the first of the 5 yamas is called Ahimsa, which means in Sanskrit, non-violence. And there's a reason that yoga starts, the 8 limbs starts with the yamas, and the yamas start with kindness and non-violence, the Ahimsa one. It's the most important aspect of life. And the yamas are how to interact with the world. They're guidelines to how to interact with the world. So with ahimsa, meaning non-violence, non-harmfulness, means compassion, and it means kindness. And we can bring those qualities to our mat and honor our mind by not giving into negative thoughts about your practice today. If you can't do a particular pose, so be it. That's just the way it is today. Maybe tomorrow you can do it. Yoga is not a competitive sport, so there's no need to be perfect in any of this. It's a practice. Being kind to your body, remembering that sweet spot between effort and relaxation, and not pushing it. You will push the meter eventually. Each time you do it, the meter will go a little bit forward, but don't exceed that comfort level, that sweet spot. And in spirit, always lead with your heart, not with your ego. And if a pose doesn't happen for you today, laugh it off. Just don't get caught up in what your mind's going to do. Just be happy that you're here on your mat and you're present with all of us. So yoga helps us to be kind to ourselves on our mat, so we can be kind to ourselves and others off the mat. The Dalai Lama says to be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. So we're going to go into our meditation now. And the mudra for our meditation today is the lotus mudra. And it's bringing your palms of your hands together, bringing your pinkies and your thumbs together, and keeping your fingers open, symbolizing the opening of your heart. So you can use that or use whatever mudra, or just put your hands on your lap and be comfortable. And we'll just take a few moments to be at peace and be present with ourselves. And I will meet you on the mat. You may open your eyes now, and we'll begin the asana part of our practice, the poses. So again, if you find yourself in a nice seated, comfortable position with your back nice and long, back of your neck nice and long, you can be seated on a blanket for a little bit if that's more comfortable for you. And we're going to bring our hands, fingertips to the sides, and start with sun breaths. And this will work on the Deirdre pranayama, which is the complete breath. So when we're inhaling, you bring your inhaling, expanding your tummy, drawing that breath up to your ribs, expanding your ribs, then draw that breath up to your chest and expand your chest. And that's on the inhale. And then on the exhale, exhaling through your nose, you would let that breath flow away from your chest, flow away from your ribs, and flow away from your stomach, deflating your stomach. So it's almost like an ocean wave. And we'll get into the ocean breath next week, but this is just creating that movement of a flow from your stomach up to your ribs, up to your chest, and then flowing it away from your chest, your ribs, and your tummy. So bringing your fingertips to the mat, deep inhale through your nose, bringing the arms up overhead very slowly. And then bringing your hands down on the exhale, letting that breath flow away from your chest, then your ribs, and then your tummy. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, expanding your tummy, expanding your ribs, expanding your chest. And then exhale deeply through your nose, letting it flow away from your chest, away from your ribs, and away from your tummy. We'll do a few more here. Inhale. And then exhale. Inhale again. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Well, my exhale is much longer than my inhale. I kind of ran out of steam halfway up through my inhale. So let's relax our shoulders and roll them back and clasp our hands behind our back so that they're sitting right at our hips, the base of our spine. Just again, relax the shoulders, just loosen them up a little bit. And then extend the hands away from you. This is a yoga lock. And then exhaling, bring the hands interlaced to your right side. And inhale, stretch them back away from you. And exhale, bring them over to the left. These are chest openers. Opening your heart, opening your air passages. Inhale, bring them to the back. Exhale to the right side. Inhale, stretch them back. Exhale to the left side. Inhale, stretch your hands back. Exhale, come to the right side. And one last time, stretch them on back. And then exhale to the left side. And then release. Look at your legs and how they're crossed, and just move the front leg up a little further so that they're uncrossed and they're almost laying on the floor flat, or as close as you can get to that. With your back nice and straight and long, we're going to walk our fingertips forward. So it's a seated forward fold. And again, find that sweet spot. Be kind to yourself. Just find as far out as you can walk to feel that nice sweet spot between effort and relaxation. And then walk your hands over to the right leg. I'm hoping that your right leg is in the front. Right side. And then walk your hands back to upright position. Lift your right knee up to the sky. Foot's flat on the floor. Wrap your left arm around your right knee. Wrap your left arm around your right knee. Send your right fingertips to the back of your hips. And just turn to face the right side of your mat. And then come back to center. Switch legs. So if you have your right leg in front, now bring your left leg in front. And have them flat, not crossed. And walk your fingers, walk your hands out in front of you. And come down to that sweet spot. Then walk your hands over to the left side so that you're over your left knee. And then walk your hands back, up towards you, so you're seated back upright, and then bring your left knee up so it's facing to the ceiling. Your left foot is flat on the mat. Wrap your right arm around your left knee and send your left hand behind your back, keeping it close to your hips, and turn to the left side of your mat. And come back to center. And we'll try that one more time. So bring your right leg in front of your left leg. Right foot's in front. And walk your hands out. Slowly come to that sweet spot. Then walk your hands over to the right side so that your torso is just above your right thigh, your right knee. Nice stretch on the left side of your waist here. And then walk your hands back toward you. And flip your knee up toward the ceiling. Your right knee goes up toward the ceiling, right foot goes on the mat. Wrap your left arm around your right knee. Bring your right hand to the back of your hips and turn to face the right side of your mat. And then come back to center, switch feet. Walk your hands out, away from your body, coming down to your sweet spot. Then walk your hands over to the left, bringing your torso as close to your thigh and over your knee as you can. And then walk your hands back toward your body and flip your left knee up into the air. Wrap your right arm around it and twist to the left side of your mat, placing your left hand behind your hips. Then we're going to, you can release, and we're going to roll down on our mat. So if you want to remove your blanket or block, that's fine. Roll down either one vertebrae at a time, or use the express method by tucking your hands under your knees and rolling back. Bring your knees to your chest and give them a nice gentle hug. And wrapping your hands around your left knee, extend your right leg out fully to the bottom of the mat. Flexing your toes, pointing them up to the sky. You bring your leg down to the mat. Check your lower back to see if it's nice and snug against the mat. And then release your left leg and bring it down to the bottom of the mat to join your right leg, your right foot. You're in mountain pose now. Recline mountain pose. Then slide your right foot, the sole of your right foot, up the inner part of your left leg, keeping your knee pointing to the left side, or right side of the mat rather, until your legs form the figure 4. The sole of your right foot should be about where your left knee is. And then take your right ankle and place it on top of your left leg, right above the knee, so that the right ankle is sitting right above the left knee on your thigh. And then we're going to slide our left foot up so the left foot is on the mat, planted on the mat. Right knee is still pointing to the right side of the mat. This is reclined pigeon pose, and you can stay here if this is comfortable for you, or if you want a little bit more stretch, you can lift your left leg up and wrap your hands behind the left thigh, bringing your left leg and right leg a little closer to you. And if you want even more stretch, you can wrap your hands around the outer part of your shin on your left leg and draw your legs closer to you. Whatever's most comfortable. Feet are flexed. Wiggle your toes. And then place your left foot back down on the mat. And we're going to send our right leg up into the sky. So lifting the sole of your right foot so that it's reaching up toward the sky. And you can stay here. You can support this leg by interlacing your fingers behind your right thigh, or one hand, and support your body with your other hand. Just take a moment to get comfortable here. And then we're going to move our right foot to the right to the 1 o'clock position. And again, support it with your right hand or interlaced hands. And then move it to the 2 o'clock position. And if you want, you could try 3 o'clock. I think I get to about 2:30, maybe 2:20. And then bring it back up to 12 o'clock position. Straight up in the air. And then we're going to move it to the left. So move it toward 11 o'clock. Move it toward 10 o'clock. And that should have a little bit of tension there. And if you want, you could try 9 o'clock. I think I can only get to 10 o'clock. And bring your leg back to center to 12 o'clock. Bring both knees to your chest. Give them a nice hug. Then wrap your hands around your right knee and extend your left leg to the bottom of the mat. Feet are flexed, toes pointing up to the sky. Lower back is snug against the mat. And then drop your right leg down and bring it to the bottom of the mat to join your left leg. So you're in reclined mountain pose or Shavasana. But toes are flexed, you're not relaxed like you are in Shavasana. It's more of an active pose. Then slide the sole of your left foot up the inner part of your right leg till it reaches your knee and your legs form a figure 4. Left knee is pointing to the left side of the mat. Then hop that left ankle on top of your right leg so that the left ankle is sitting right above the knee. Then slide your right foot up so that you plant your right foot down on the mat and come into reclined pigeon pose on the other side. Again, you can stay here, or if you want a little more stretch, you lift your right leg up toward you, interlacing your fingers behind the right thigh. Left knee still pointing to the left side of the mat. And a little bit more stretch, you bring your hands, interlace them in front of the shin. And then place your right foot back on the mat and send your left foot up to the 12 o'clock position. Sole of the foot's reaching toward the sky. And you can interlace your hands behind your thigh to keep it nice, or keep it as upright as it can go. And then we're going to bring your foot to the left. So bring it to the 11 o'clock position, then the 10 o'clock position, and then the 9 o'clock roadblock. And then back up to 12 o'clock. And bring it to the 1 o'clock position, 2 o'clock position, and 3 o'clock if you can. And then back up to 12. Bring the left foot down. Bring both knees to your chest. Give them a nice gentle hug. And then we're going to bring our hands right behind our knees, right to the tops of our back of our thighs, and we're going to roll up. So you may need to do it a couple times, but just keep rolling until you get yourself back up into a seated position. And then we'll come into tabletop. So come up to your hands and knees. Excuse me. Wrists are right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips. Fingers are wide apart. You have your weight balanced evenly in your hands. In your fingertips, weight should be off your wrists. Navel's tucked to your spine, creating a nice flat back. We'll do some cat-cows here. So exhale, rounding your back, dropping your head down, your tailbone down. Inhale, lifting your head and tailbone up for cow. Exhale, round your back, drop your head and tailbone down for cat. Inhale, lift your head and tailbone up for cow. Exhale, rounding your back for cat. Inhale, lifting head and tail for cow. And then just continue at your own pace, deep breaths. Synchronizing with each movement. Keeping equal weight in both hands, pushing down in your hands so that you can create that space between your shoulders and your ears. And we'll come to one last cat-cow and meet back in the middle at tabletop with a flat back. And we'll kickstand our left foot out to off the mat and extend your right foot down to the end of the mat, pointing your toes down to the end. Your weight shifts to your left hand. Your left wrist should still be under your shoulder. And then we sweep our hand up and opening our chest as much as we can. So sweep your hand up to the ceiling, and if you can, just extend that back so that you're kind of revolved, open to the sky. And then extend your hand back down to the mat. Inhale, sweep your hand up, overhead, and if you can, open your chest and extend your arm back further. And then come back down one last time. Inhale, sweep your hand up to the sky, opening your chest wide, extend your hand back, and then come down. We'll do that on the other side. So come back to tabletop, kickstand your right foot out on the outside of your mat. Extend your left toes down to the bottom of the mat. Shift your weight to your right arm. wrist should be right under the shoulder. Sweep your left hand all the way up to the sky. And if you can, open your chest wide and sweep your hand just a little further back. And then bring your hand back down to the mat. Again, inhale deeply, sweeping your hand all the way up to the sky. And extend it back, opening your chest, opening your heart. And bring that hand back down to the mat. And one last time, sweeping it slowly up, deep inhale. Opening your chest, opening your heart. And then bring it back down. Come back to tabletop and curl your toes under and walk your hands back toward your feet, coming up into a squat position, pushing down on your toes, push up, come up into mountain. We'll go through our mountain essentials. So point your toes to the straight edge of your mat. Lift your toes up off the mat and stretch them out as wide as you can. Bring them back down to the mat. Lift your heels up off the mat. And then bring them back down. Legs are nice and straight and strong. Soft bend in your knees. Navel's tucked to your spine. Back is nice and long, straight. Back of your neck is nice and long. You can tuck your chin in a little bit to create that nice lengthening feel of your spine and back of your neck. Relax your shoulders, let them roll down and back. Top of your head, the crown of your head is reaching up to the sky. We'll inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hip. Bending your knees deeply, bring your hands down to the mat, down to the floor. And we'll just take a moment here to check in with our body. Feeling if you have any tension today. Sending a deep, kind breath to that tension. Couple nice deep breaths, and then inhale, lifting halfway up. Hands on your shins. Back is flat, heart is open, gaze is extended forward. And exhale, forward fold, bringing the crown of your head down toward the ground. Inhale, sweep your hands all the way up overhead. And then lift up onto your toes for palm tree. We'll just sway here for a moment. Find that stability in your balance. And then bring your heels back down to the mat and your hands back down for forward fold. Crown comes down toward the ground. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold. Flatten your back, opening your chest. Exhale, forward fold. Crown goes down toward the ground. Inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. We're going to take our right hand and wrap it around our left wrist. And we're going to do a side stretch by drawing your left hand over to the right side of your mat. And you can swing out your hips to the left as well. So you're making a nice crescent shape with your hips and your arms overhead. And then inhale, come back up. Switch hands, so your left hand's wrapped around your right wrist. And then you can kind of kick out your right hip to the right, and then draw your right arm over to the left. Inhale, back up. We'll do that one more time. So wrap your right hand around your left wrist. Kick out your left hip, drawing your left arm over to the right. Then inhale, come back up. Switch hands, left hand to right wrist. Kick out your right hip and draw your right arm over to the left. And then back up again. Deep inhale and exhale, forward fold. Half forward fold, lifting your hands up your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze forward. Exhale, forward fold, dropping your head toward the mat. And we're going to bring both hands to the mat and bend your left knee, keeping your right leg somewhat straight. You can keep that soft bend in your knee, but deeply bend your left knee. Bring your left hand to the mat and sweep your right hand all the way up and to the ceiling. And if you can send your gaze up to your right hand, if that's comfortable. And then bring your right hand back down to the mat. Switch legs so that you're bending deeply in your right leg. Your right hand is right in front of your right foot. Left leg is somewhat straight, soft bend in the knee. And sweep your left hand all the way up and overhead. And bring that back down to the mat. Forward fold, and then inhale, sweeping your hand all the way up overhead. Sending your gaze up to your thumbs, and then lowering your hands to your heart center. Then bring your hands to the back of your hips, fingertips pointing down. Feet are about hip width apart. Relax your shoulders and roll them back. Tuck your chin to your chest, and then drop your shoulders back for a supported back bend. And continue breathing. And then inhale up. Inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And then exhale, forward fold. Bring the crown of your head down toward the ground. Placing both hands down on the mat and extending both feet to the back of the mat into downward dog. So hands are nice, your fingertips are nice and spread apart. The weight of your upper body should be on your fingertips and the pads of your hands, not your wrists. Arms are nice and straight. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. Knees are bent. You can pedal out here, nice and comfortable. Hips are extended up to the sky. Get comfortable in your downward dog. And then we're going to bring our right knee up to our right elbow. So on the inhale, bring that right knee up to the right elbow, pushing off the toes on your left foot. And then back again, bring your right foot back to meet your other foot. This is a great core exercise. All core exercises help strengthen your lower back. So inhale, lift that right foot up, bring it to the right knee, right elbow, right knee to right elbow. And then bring your right foot back again. Pedal out some more. And this time we're going to bring our right foot up between our hands. So inhale, bring your right foot up, bring it up any way you can. And come into runner's lunge. So your front foot should be framed by your two hands. Knee is right over your ankle. Back leg is extended and it's active, pushing the heel to the back of the mat. And you're pushing down in your front foot to create strength. Place your left hand on the mat and extend your right arm up toward the ceiling. And again, keep that active strength and pushing your left heel to the back of the mat. And then bring your right hand down. We're going to come into a low lunge, or a lunge that's low, but we want you to push down in your right foot and bring your hands up to your knees. And then if you can, bring it to heart center. And the key here is to keep the pressure on your feet. So if you can push down in both feet on the balls of your feet, you'll feel that strength building. And then bring both hands back down. Bring your right foot to the back of the mat. Come into plank. Your wrists are right below your shoulders. Legs are nice and strong. Heels pushed to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips. And then you can come down gently to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping your elbows close to your ribs. When you land on the mat, we're going to lift our chest up and lift our hands up off the mat. So it's a baby cobra. Bring your hands back down to the mat, keeping your elbows tucked to your side. Push down your hands and come up into cobra. And then come back down. And if it's available to you, have the tops of your feet flat on the mat, elbows tucked to the side, and come up, extending your arms all the way fully so they're straight into upward dog. So your hips, your torso's off the mat. Then flip your toes under, come down into tabletop, and then lower your hips to your ankles, extending your arms out for child's pose. And if you like, you can have your child's pose so your knees are right under you, or your child's pose and be with your knees pointed out to the edges of the mat. Big toes are touching together. Whichever's good for you, we'll just rest here for a moment. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, come back up into downward dog. And then walk your feet up to meet your hands. Forward fold. And slowly, one vertebrae at a time, come up to mountain. And we'll take a moment here to do tree pose. So one way you could do tree pose is by bringing your toe to the mat, your heel to the ankle. And you can start with what we like to do is start with our weaker leg, have that being the supporting leg. So we can build strength there by going through the moves. So toes to the mat, heel to ankle, and then you can slide it up to your shin and up to your thigh if that's available. So come to your favorite your favorite tree pose position. And if you want, you can open your fingertips into the lotus mudra and rise them up and over your head. And then bring everything down. And we'll do that on the other side. So again, you can bring your heel to your left heel to right ankle. You can slide it up to your shin, and that's fine. Or if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you bring it all the way up to your inner thigh. And then open your hands to lotus mudra. Woof. And bring the lotus up above. It's helpful to find your drishti either on the floor, anywhere that's a stationary, non-moving spot. So again, don't look at me. I'm moving. And it's fine for a tree to be wobbling. They do that in the wind. Find that stillness, that strength, that balance. And then bring everything back down. Sweeping our hands up overhead. We're gonna go and repeat what we did earlier on the other side. So arms up, forward fold, bringing hands to the mat, extending our feet back to downward dog. And walk out your dog here. Arms are straight, chest reaches to the thighs, hips are up in the air. Then we bring our left knee to our left elbow. So on the inhale, push off with your right toes, bringing your left knee to your left elbow. And then back to downward dog. Pedal out. Inhale, left knee to left elbow, pushing off with your right toes. And then back down to downward dog. And the third time, we're going to bring our left foot between our hands. So inhale, reach your left foot up, come into runner's lunge. Left knees over your left ankle. Right leg is extended and active to the back of the mat with your heel pushing actively to the back of the mat. Plant your right hand on the mat and sweep your left hand up toward the sky. And bring the left hand back down, framing your foot. And then keeping in our runner's lunge, you're gonna bring our hands to our knees. And then if it's available to you, pushing down with your balls of your feet, both feet, come into prayer pose for the runner's lunge. Keeping both legs really active. And bringing your hands back down to the mat. Bring your left foot to the back of the mat. Come into plank position. Wrists are right below the shoulders. Feet are extended back. Heels are pushing back. Navel's tucked to the spine. And you can lower to the mat gently, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping your hands where they are, just lift them up off the mat and have your head up, creating a gentle back bend for baby cobra. Planting your hands back down next to your ribs, keeping your elbows tucked to the ribs. Push down into your hands and come up to the cobra. Your thighs and pelvis should be on the mat. And then bring yourself back down. And this time we're going to go up to up dog, upward dog. So pushing down the tops of your feet, pushing down into your hands so that your arms are fully extended. Lift up, all the way up off the mat to upward dog. And then flip your toes over, come down to tabletop. And then lower your hips down to your ankles, come into child's pose. And come back up to tabletop. Swing both legs out to the side and come into a seated position. And then we'll slowly roll down on the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Or you could do express method. Bring your knees to your chest. Give them a nice hug. Rock back and forth. Massage your lower back. And if you want, you can make circles by drawing circles with your toes. Clockwise and then counterclockwise, whatever feels good to your lower back there. Then bring your feet down to the mat so they're just below your hips. Bring the heels as close to your hips as you can. It's comfortable. Arms are alongside and palms are facing down into the mats to support you. You do a few supine cat-cows and then lifting up into a bridge. So we're going to do 3 cat-cows and then lift up into a low bridge. So round your back and your hips are staying on the mat. Round your back so your lower back touches the mat. And you feel your pelvis tilting up. You feel the action in the top of your thighs. And then arch your back, tilting your pelvis down. That's 2. And then round your back for cat, tilting your pelvis up. That's 3. And then push down into the mat, lifting your pelvis up toward the sky. And then lower your back one vertebrae at a time from the top, the back of your base of your neck, back down toward your waist. Come back slowly to the mat. We'll do that again. So round your back, bringing it flush with the mat, tilting your pelvis up. Arch your lower back, tilting your pelvis down. Round your lower back, tilting your pelvis up. Then push down into your feet, lifting your pelvis up off the mat to a low bridge. Knees should be parallel, not splayed apart, so just be aware of that. Head should be facing up toward the sky. And then lower one vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. From the base of your neck on down to your waist. Make a nice soft landing. And one last time. So round your back, tilting pelvis up. Arch your back, tilting pelvis down. Round your back, tilting pelvis up. Push down into your feet, lifting up to bridge pose. Knees are parallel, not splayed apart. And then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. And then you can extend your feet, both feet down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. So if you get any clothing or blankets you need to stay warm, comfortable. It's very warm in here for the sun. And just relax your whole body. Let your feet and legs be at an angle, flop your feet open, relax your ankles, relax your knees, relax your hips, let that lower back go snug into the mat. Relax your arms, have them open to the side of your body with your palms facing up. Relax your spine, the back of your neck. Relax your chest and your shoulders. Let your shoulders sink deep into the mat. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyes. Place a smile on your lips. I mentioned to you, as it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s day this past Monday, his 6 principles of nonviolence, Ahimsa. Number 1, nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. 2, nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. 3, nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Violence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Emphasis in the right spot. Number 4, nonviolence holds that suffering can educate and transform. 5, nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. And number 6, nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice. So when you're ready, you can start to wiggle your toes and your fingertips, reawaken your body. Nice stretch, deep inhale, deep exhale. And roll over to your favorite side and slowly make your way back up to a seated position.